Juneteenth. Let's talk about it. Contextually speaking, the Civil War is from 1861 to 1865. And the Civil War was fought over slavery. The notion that it was fought over anything else is absolutely ridiculous. 2 years into this bloody war, January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issues the Emancipation Proclamation. Okay. Congressman Lincoln, before he was president, had already tried to abolish slavery twice. That is why, when he was elected president, 11 states seceded from the Union because they knew what he would try to do. They knew that he had a mind to abolish slavery. And those 11 states were South Carolina, Mississippi, Florida, Alabama, Georgia, Louisiana, Texas, Arkansas, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Virginia. They all mention slavery in their secession documentation, not states' rights, not commerce, or any other theoretical theory of government. Slavery is what they mention. And in fact, in the Confederate States of America, which was then another country, the vice president of the Confederacy said, "The backbone of the Confederacy is such that the Negro is not equal to the white man. This is why the Civil War was fought." Okay. April 1865, the Civil War is over. General Lee surrenders to General Grant at Appomattox Courthouse near Virginia. The war is over. But it was a bloody war, and it was a contentious war. And people are not just going to fall in line even though there was a surrender. So the Union Army then, the United States government then, has to fan out across the entire country, including these states that were seceded, to now bring some order and to make sure that what the federal government says is actually taking place. That's why in June of 1865, General Gordon Granger comes riding into Texas, Galveston, Texas. He is the commander of the District of Texas. There are generals that are fanned out all across the country to make sure that enslaved persons were in fact free, that what the government said, what the federal government said, was actually being followed. Now, these persons in Galveston and surrounding areas did not know about the Emancipation Proclamation of 1863, 2 years before that. But what did the Emancipation Proclamation actually do? It's a lot of words, but if you simplify it, it simply says that enslaved persons that are held in states that have seceded from the Union are free. It doesn't do anything about the border states, which still have enslaved persons, just the states that have seceded from the Union. That was in 1863. But 2 years later, these people in Galveston, Texas, and not just in Texas, but in other places too, do not know that they have been freed. Why? Well, it's obvious. What businessman or woman could continue to deliver the goods and services that they provide without making payroll? Anybody would want that. I mean, any immoral, morally bankrupt person. So these enslavers wanted to continue to enjoy the free labor that they had in slavery. Slaves mostly couldn't read, and the Confederate Army and the Confederate government at the time suppressed that news, so they did not know. So part of General Granger's, of his first order of business, was to make sure that people knew, that enslaved persons knew that they had been freed. So on June 19th, Juneteenth, in Galveston, Texas, General Order Number 3, that was the third general order from General Gordon Granger, who was the commanding general of the District of Texas, was read in Galveston, and it let enslaved persons know that they had been freed. That was in June of 1865. In December of 1865, the 13th Amendment was passed. That freed slavery. That abolished slavery in the United States and its territories. So not so much the Emancipation Proclamation, but the 13th Amendment to the Constitution is what abolished slavery in U.S. and its territories. And can I just add that in 1862, the District of Columbia had emancipated its enslaved persons. And so in Washington, D.C., they celebrate Emancipation Day. So Juneteenth is a wonderful and glorious celebration that we all should partake in. We all need to know our history. We need to know how things came about and how history has affected us and impacted us and how we have been a part of history. So I would encourage you, celebrate Juneteenth. And there are a lot of traditional ways to do it. So red everything. Red soda, red punch, hibiscus tea, barbecue with barbecue sauce, which is red, anything hot sauce, red velvet cake, red beans and rice. These are all traditional foods used to celebrate Juneteenth. But more than that, make sure your children know their history. Make sure they know the history of this country. Make sure they know the part of history that they have played. And make sure that they know that there's more to the African American experience. There's more to the African American journey through this country than slavery. And if that wasn't enough to wet your whistles, let me just say this. The last state to ratify the 13th Amendment. The 13th Amendment was passed in 1865. The states then ratify it. The last state to ratify the 13th Amendment was Mississippi. And that was in 1995. If that doesn't ignite a fire under you to make sure that you and your children and your children's children know your history, I don't know what else will. Truth be told, you can find African American history anywhere because our history is everywhere. Juneteenth is coming. Celebrate it and make sure that your family and your children know our history. You can find our history anywhere because our history is everywhere. See you again real soon. Celebrate Juneteenth.
If you would like to see more videos like this, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification icon to receive our new releases. If you would like to assist Truth Be Told in our mission to preserve African American history, which is American history, please share this video with your children, family, and friends. Truth Be Told, you can find Black history anywhere because our history is everywhere.